Hi, Gravel Bike California here in Glendale getting ready for our monthly ride, the Verdugos. We're here at the coffee commissary where we're going to be doing about 30-ish miles and probably just under a mile worth of climbing. The Verdugo Mountains are a very small mountain range just underneath the San Gabriels, but it's really steep no matter which way you come up. Today we're going to be going over probably about the 8-mile span of it, and then a little bit into Glendale on some single track. We'll see what happens. Attendance continues to grow as our Send It series gravel rides held our first outing on a Saturday. But everyone was still trying to look their Sunday best. We rolled out onto Kenneths Avenue, where I thought it was a good idea to sprint to the red light. Hey, I just lead these rides. I never said I'm any good at it. Everyone was happy to start out on these flat first few miles, picking up speed and avoiding expensive cars. And a few expensive cars too. We're about to do Lanark. It's not gravel, but it's super steep.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, let's see who has fun on it. Turning onto Lanark gives you the false hope that any run-up will help. First, your speed gets cut in half by the double-digit slope. Then, you really have to start digging as the climb reaches fringe subdivision grades that gets into the high teens. You don't really get out of your seat climbing on dirt, but on Lanark, I can't remember if I changed the settings on my camera, but seeing people at the top sure looked like everyone was in slow motion. The turn onto Edmore was equally as fun, but as we made our way onto Chandler Motorway, I'm sure the great attitude stuck. The first kilometer to Verdugo Peak averages above 15%, which is cruel and unusual punishment on this dirt. Even with downhill breaks here and there, Chandler Motorway is extra tough for the uninitiated, because it's not clear where you're headed and how much more climbing you have left. If you remember, it's beautiful to take a look back, but most of the time, your head is down while you're wishing, is that it? All you can try to do is smile and submit to these senseless grades. At some point, it should end. The top of Chandler Motorway comes as you reach the wisdom tree after this stupid climb. The next punch in the neck came in the form of the Verdugo Motorway, as there's another 1,000 feet of ascending over 3 miles. At least on this climb, the radio towers come into view, giving some perspective where you're headed. Even with a few flat spots, it's still a tough grind, averaging 7% all the way up to Verdugo Peak. You can't blame anyone for taking a break along the way. After an opportunity to do some free spinning, it's one last climb until the top. Verdugo Peak, at 3,126 feet, is the tallest point on this small range, which is above anything in the much larger Santa Monica Mountains. In other words, a great place to catch some views. After all this climbing, it was time for some downhill payback as we continued east. Splitting onto Beaudry North is the best option on this side, as the fire road is in relative great condition, while you still have to be aware of hikers the closer you get to the bottom. The good part is there's plenty of space to rip it. After stopping for a nutritious pit stop for Little League opening day, we dipped past the Gonzo Gardens in Pasadena, and God, do I wish these two were part of our ride. I promised Cherry Canyon was going to be our last piece of dirt as the calls for beer grew. There's a lot of options to ride through this small area, but one way or the other, it's going to include some climbing again, which doesn't seem as bad when you look back at the Verdugos. Turning off of Mountain, everyone was excited for the last piece of single track. Even so much, Jeff almost ran me over. Instead of taking the gnarly switchbacks, we chose the long and stretched out Catalina Verdugo trail down. Pay attention as you twist and turn through 2 kilometers of these fun continuing rollers. Sometimes you're so locked in, you might not notice the cliffs below. You want it to go on forever, but eventually Catalina spits you out into the Glendale Sports Complex. Making our way out of the park, we hit some downhill skiing G-forces as we made our way back through Glendale into Kenneth Village. Another Send It Sunday ride is in the books, and look out for more of Gravel Bike California's monthly rides. Support us on Patreon and keep tabs on our Facebook and Strava pages. Until next ride.